Hey, boys and girls. It's our second day of school, but funny enough, my book for you today is actually First Day Jitters. I want you to think back to yesterday and some of the feelings that you had while we read this book. And we're going to listen for some of those feeling words, words that tell us how our main character might be feeling on the inside. Sarah, dear, time to get out of bed, Mr. Hartwell said, poking his head through the bedroom doorway. You don't want to miss the first day at your new school, do you? How many of you feel kind of like we're at a new school this year? I know we're still part of Owl Creek, but we're doing something so different, right? Some of you might be at a new school too. I'm not going, said Sarah, and pulled the covers over her head. Of course you're going, honey, said Mr. Hartwell as he walked over to the window and snapped up the shade. How do you think she might be feeling? She doesn't want to go, does she? Maybe she's feeling scared. No, I'm not. I don't want to start over again. I hate my new school, Sarah said. She tunneled down to the end of her bed. Hopefully none of you did this yesterday. I hope you were excited yesterday. How can you hate your new school, sweetheart? Mr. Hartwell chuckled. You've never been there before. Don't worry. You liked your other school. You'll like this one. Besides, just think of all the new friends you'll meet. That's just it. I don't know anybody and it will be hard and I just hate it. That's all. Look at what he's picturing. All her new friends, right? And then look at what she's picturing. They have different perspectives, right? Different ways of looking at it. What will everyone think if you aren't there? We told them you were coming. Well, what is happening here? It says they've got somebody. It looks like they have missing signs. They will think that I am lucky, and they will wish that they were at home in bed like me. Mr. Hartwell sighed. Sarah Jane Hartwell, I'm not playing this silly game 1 second longer. I'll see you downstairs in 5 minutes. Sarah tumbled out of bed. I love how the words tumbled, just like Sarah. She stumbled into the bathroom. She fumbled into her clothes. Oh, my head hurts, she moaned as she trudged into the kitchen. Mr. Hartwell handed Sarah a piece of toast in her lunchbox. He's not going to let her stay home, is he? He's going to make her face her fears. They walked to the car. Sarah's hands were cold and clammy. They drove down the street. She couldn't breathe. When the author tells us that Sarah couldn't breathe, how do you think the author is telling us she's feeling? I think she's really nervous. And then they were there. Oh, I feel sick, Sarah said weakly. Nonsense, said Mr. Hartwell. You'll love your new school once you get started. Oh, look, there's your principal, Mrs. Burton. Sarah slumped down in her seat. Oh, can you imagine you're slumping down in your seat? Like you're trying not to be seen? What kind of feeling word would go with that? Embarrassed? Anxious? Jittery? Oh, Sarah, Mrs. Burton gushed, peeking into the car. There you are. Come on, I'll show you where to go. She led Sarah into the building and walked quickly through the crowded hallways. Don't worry, everyone is nervous the first day, she said over her shoulder as Sarah rushed to keep up. When they got to the classroom, most of the children were already in their seats. The class looked up at Mrs. Burton as Mrs. Burton cleared her throat. Class, attention please, said Mrs. Burton. When the class was quiet, she led Sarah to the front of the room and said, Class, I would like you to meet your new teacher, Mrs. Sarah Jane Hartwell. I love this book because I think sometimes as kids, you might sometimes forget that grown-ups have the same kinds of emotions as you. So I know yesterday while I was getting ready for it and getting ready for our Zoom, I was feeling really nervous. I was nervous about meeting all of you, my new friends. I was nervous about whether or not I'd do a good job on the Zoom. I was nervous about trying something new, teaching online instead of in person. I know I'm really good at it in my classroom, but this is brand new to me. So I want you to think about some of the feelings you're having. And tomorrow morning, during our Zoom morning meeting, we're going to share some of those feelings. But what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to think if you're feeling the way you're feeling was a food, what would it be and why? That's kind of fun, right? Okay, I've got an assignment for you over in our doc for the day. And I'm going to ask you if you would please just tell me how you're feeling and maybe kind of what you're doing to deal with those feelings. I know, for example, I was feeling nervous, and so I drank some hot tea. I read a book that I'm really interested in, and that helped me feel more calm. So that would be my answer to it. All right, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I will see you for math at 11 o'clock.